What if I told you that if you changed your expectation, you could change your life? If you changed what you were expecting to see, you would begin to see a different result. What if I told you that your expectations are impacted by your mindset, your beliefs, and your view on success? And what if I told you that the very reason why you are not where you want to be in your career, in your relationships, in your finances is because you are not expecting to be there? Now, you may be thinking, listen, I have a level of expectation that says that I should be further along in life. But I want to challenge you and say this, that maybe you don't have the right kind of expectation that's going to position you for the level of success that you desire or even think that you desire. What if what you were really anticipating was to fail instead of succeed? In today's video, I'm going to talk to you about how to properly position yourself to expect the right things. I'm going to talk to you about how you have been programmed to anticipate failure. You have been programmed to produce a plan B in many situations, and so you don't go all out on your plan A. I'm speaking to you as a person who perpetually had a plan B, as a person who would not give my all to a thing because in the very back of my mind, I was telling myself a story that was not serving me. In this video, we are going to break down how your mindset and your beliefs and your level of success are correlated. Your mind is a powerful thing. It is a beautiful thing, and it has been being programmed since the day you were born. When you were born, you entered into this world with no coding, with no information, with no pre-programmed thought patterns. But the family in which you were born in helped to shape your mindset, your beliefs, and the values that you carry. And my question to you today is, can you fully articulate the values that you carry? Can you confidently confirm the beliefs that you hold? And are you clear on the mindsets that are impacting the results that you're receiving? If the answer is no, then you could be sabotaging your own progress by using negative expectations, negative anticipation to actually pull you backwards instead of propelling you forward. One of the things that I struggled with for a majority of my life was being silent. And that's because of the programming that I had from childhood. I used to hear phrases like, in my day, children were to be seen and not heard. I don't know if you ever heard that. I also experienced some situations where I thought in my mind, based on my perspective of that particular situation, that if that person would have just been quiet, an altercation could have been avoided. And so throughout my life, I began to tell myself the stories that if I was just silent, then confrontational situations would not arise. If I was silent, then I could get further ahead because then nobody would notice me. If I was just silent, then I could press forward and do what I had to do. But the truth of the matter was, based upon the stories I was telling myself, I was creating this self-fulfilling prophecy. I don't know if you've ever been there where one situation that you experienced that was potentially off-putting, maybe it was traumatic, maybe it was very jarring for you. That particular situation jarred you. It caused you to contemplate some things, and then it altered your behavior and the patterns that you created for the rest of your life. If that has ever happened to you, put me too in the comments. If you're anything like me, because of your disposition, because of your makeup, because of your divine design, because of your level of sensitivity, you would rather fly under the radar than to be seen. And because of your desire to fly under the radar, you anticipate, you have this level of expectation and a mindset of not being seen. You have this expectation that people disregard you wherever you go. And let me share with you from my own personal experience what that might look like. So I was taking a shower, and I remember thinking to myself, oh, so-and-so don't pay me no attention. Now, I was saying this in my brain about a situation that we were joking about, me and whoever this particular person is. I don't even remember who the person is. But I remember having the thought come across my mind that this person doesn't pay me any attention. Have you ever had that thought? And you may not actively know that you've been thinking that kind of thought, because it was not until that thought was highlighted to me that I realized, wait a minute, this is a continual thought. This is not a new thought that people disregard me, that I'm not heard. I remember, don't tell nobody, but I used to pretend to be sick when I was younger, so I did not have to go to school. And the reason I pretended to be sick was I know you're not supposed to say that, but I hated with a passion. I hated my elementary school because those kids was bad. I know you're not supposed to call kids bad, but I was in a class with them, and baby, they was throwing stuff, they was yelling. They wasn't right. The teacher could not get a handle on them, and I didn't want to be in that space because my disposition was, okay, let's listen, let's get our work done, let's move forward. They in there hollering, yelling, doing all kind of stuff on the desk. Please get me out of here. Get me out of here today. Matter of fact, who signed me up to be in this class? And I had come into the school from being at another school, so I had transferred, so I don't know anybody, and it is just an uncomfortable feeling. But I determined what I'm not going to do is go back to that school with all that mess, right? And instead of expressing myself and expressing the concerns I had about the environment I was in, I shut down. I shrunk, I got small, and I said, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make up a reason why I can't go to that place. I am going to make up this story. And so the story that I made up was my stomach hurts. Baby, every day my stomach was hurting. I can't go. My stomach is, I just don't feel well. So I didn't have to go to school because my stomach was hurting every day. Now, nobody asked me, ma'am, do your stomach really hurt? No, baby, it was F. And you know what? Probably based on the anxiety I was feeling being in that environment, my stomach was probably hurting. But it was not hurting because there was anything like naturally wrong with me. I was feeling the emotion of being anxious about being in an environment that I was uncomfortable in. And so because I anticipated that every day that I would go into that classroom, that it would be hell on earth, I said, absolutely not. I'm not going. I won't be there. Now, how many of you know that if you don't go to school, you're not going to like get to work and pass, you're not going to learn. It's just not going to work. But I did pass my grade. I don't even know what grade that was, but baby, I passed. I did not get held back. Thank you, Jesus. But my anticipation of what the experience would be like based off of one experience, I said, I'm not doing this again. And it shaped my idea of what that school was like. It shaped how I experienced that school. And then it shaped the next school that I went to, or my idea of the next school. And I remember my stomach was hurting again. But this particular classroom was not the same environment. It was actually very calm. The kids were pleasant. I actually enjoyed being in this space. But because of my past experience, I projected it into my future. Right? I projected it into the new environment that I was going into. And I already had a story ready. I already had it in my arsenal to use in order to get out of a situation that I was expecting to be horrible. See, many times you are expecting the new place that you're going to be exactly like the old place. You're expecting today's conversation to go as horribly as yesterday's conversation. And because of that anticipation, because of that expectation, you have a mindset that is not allowing you to prepare yourself to succeed, but instead it's positioning you for failure. It is positioning you to go backwards instead of grabbing a hold of what is before you and addressing it as you should. How are you preparing yourself to expect great things? How are you preparing yourself to be able to open your mouth and proclaim what you are great at, how you are going to show up, what you are looking to receive out of life, if you are anticipating that the future, tomorrow, is going to be just as dreadful or just as a negative experience as today or as yesterday? Because many times we're pulling our past experiences into our present and then we're projecting them into the future. Now, if you've ever done that, I need you to let me know in the comments. Yes, Shiteria, I've done that. Yes, Shiteria, that is currently what I'm doing. And if that's the case, I want to challenge you to change how you are expecting some things to go. Because in 2025, I'm believing that your level of success is going to shift and change because your expectation is going to shift and it's going to change. See, you might desire to be successful, but if you don't have the right mindset, if you don't have the proper set of beliefs, if you don't have your values aligned properly, no matter how much you desire that thing, you're not going to receive it because you are not in the position to get it. Think of it this way. It's like a baseball game. And again, I'm not big into sports, but if a batter comes up to bat and he has been so jarred by somebody throwing a fastball and hitting him in his face, the thing that this batter is going to think about is how they can protect their face in the swing. All of that is going to show up in their body posture. If their body is not properly positioned over the plate, they're going to have a hard time connecting the bat to the ball. What could have been a home run now becomes a foul ball, all because of how they are showing up. See, what you think about is going to show up in your physical posture. When you are not physically postured to receive the success that belongs to you, it's going to show up in the activities that you are engaging in. See, you will either limit yourself or you will go all in because you are believing that you are going to succeed in that thing. As an executive in a grocery retail organization, because I anticipated that the conversations with my boss would be dreadful, I tell you they were dreadful because guess what? I didn't prepare well. Guess what I didn't do? I did not have the supporting documentation that I needed in order to exhibit the qualifications that I had or whatever supporting documentation that I needed in order to demonstrate to him that I know how to handle what I've got going on here. Because I anticipated, okay, he gonna come in here today and he gonna ride me. He's just gonna be in my face. It's gonna be so annoying and I just want to get it over with. So I had this negative expectation of how the conversations were going to go. I dreaded meeting with him. And so in the dread of meeting with him, I never positioned myself properly to be seen and respected in his eyes. Now, I know you might be thinking, Shiteria, what do you mean? He's coming at you all negative and all sideways. What else are you supposed to do? Well, because I know that I'm qualified, I know that I'm credentialed, and I know my stuff, I should just come in prepared and ready to answer his questions. And if I don't have the answer in the moment, as the boss executive that I was, I should have said, I don't know, but what I will do is get back to you. I did not show up confidently enough, so I missed opportunities. I missed moments to showcase my skill set. I missed moments to be the best version of myself because I hated being in his presence. I don't know about you if you have ever hated being in the very presence of your boss. I hated it. It was not always like that though. I was on track for promotion. I was on track to move up within this company, but because of one situation, one negative situation that he held on to, and one negative situation that I held on to, it stunted my growth. Now, it worked out for my good because I'm able to sit here and to share this story with you. I'm able to be reflective and say, okay, where did I miss the mark? And here's the thing. When you properly position yourself with expectation, you no longer have a problem going back to review the tapes and to see where you could have shown up better. Because as you build your expectation, as you are preparing for your future, you know that reviewing the tapes is a requirement. You understand that looking at past plays is what's going to get you to the promised future, because you know that there is more for you, because you are positioning yourself to succeed. You're positioning yourself to win. See, here's what happens. Many times we're not winning at the level that we want to win in our relationships, in our leadership journey, with our children, in our finances, in our careers. We're not winning the way we want to win in our marriages because we have not prepared ourselves properly by reviewing the tapes. We have not prepared ourselves properly by positioning ourselves to succeed at a future date. But because we are so overwhelmed and so exhausted by what we have experienced, we're not allowing it to be a stepping stone, but instead we're using it as a stumbling block. Is the expectation that you have so negative that it is deterring you from securing your future, the future that you actually desire? I can tell you from experience, if you are anything like me, the answer is yes. The answer is yes, because I so dreaded being in the work environment that I was in that I literally made myself sick. I used to think to myself, and this is not a made up story. I cannot make this up, baby. I can't. It's just impossible. So I remember thinking to myself, I want to go out on disability. Anybody ever been there? Like, you at work and you working and you know how to do your job, but you are so illed out. You're like, ugh, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be in your presence. I don't want to work with you, right? You're so like, ugh, I'm done. That you think of ways to get out of showing up. So I was at that place. I anticipated that every interaction I had with my boss would be negative. And guess what? It was. I got what I anticipated. I got what I was looking for. Okay? Because when you look for something, you will find it. But if I begin to look for something else, if I begin to look for an interaction that would be more positive, that would be more fulfilling, I would get it because I would have prepared differently. But here's my story. Here's the story I want to share with you. So I was like, baby, I want to go out on disability. So I began to start having pains in my body because I wanted to go out on disability. I was in so much pain. I remember my boss came to see me one day. And I was like, I have to go to the doctor. Now, this was the second time I had gone to the doctor. The first time they were like, we can't find anything. We don't know what's going on. I called my mother. I'm like, I'm in so much pain. She says, they can give you a shot in order to relieve that pain. So I go to the doctor and I'm like, can you give me a shot to relieve this pain? Because I am literally in so much pain. And so they did. And the shot actually momentarily relieved some of the pain that I was feeling. But I was still hoping, wishing, praying, believing. Like I didn't start praying like, Lord, take me out on disability. But my thoughts were like, Lord, take me out on disability. And I remember, because I was in that much pain, I remember having a conversation with the Lord, and I was like, what's going on? And he brought back to remembrance my words, how I wanted to go out on disability. And what I had to do was I had to repent. Listen, because our words are powerful. Our expectation, the level of expectation that we have, that we put out there through the words that we speak, it can shift and change everything. So I repented. You know, my pain went away instantly. I was like, you have got to be kidding me. I wanted to go out on disability. And so I began to get something that would position me to go out. I was expecting not to have to go to work. But when the pain started showing up, baby, I'm not the one. Don't bring no pain this way. I don't want it. So the physical pain was way too much for me. I said I'll endure the emotional stress and strain over this physical pain. But because I wanted out so bad, I thought I was willing to go through some things to get out. Instead of just showing up as the best version of myself, I cowered and I showed up as a lesser version of who I was. Because I believed that if I just laid low, if I didn't make too much noise, if I didn't show up in all the bigness of who I am, that my boss would just go away. But because I was cowering, because I was showing up little, because I wasn't showing up as the best version of myself, he was coming for me. I want you to think about whether or not you're showing up as the best version of yourself, or is the stories you've been telling you based on the experiences that you've been having causing you not to show up as the very best version of you. I want you to think about that, because as you continue in 2025, you're going to have to decide. You're going to have to say, listen, I'm showing up as the best version of me regardless of my circumstances. Because if I said that to myself, baby, Shaitira, you're going to show up as the best version of yourself regardless of how he shows up, it would have changed the trajectory of my career at that organization. But here's why I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad I didn't, because I get this opportunity to share this with you. And I get this opportunity to do what I love doing, and that's helping other people. But that doesn't mean that going forward, I'm not going to show up as the best version of myself. I'm just saying I appreciate what that experience brought to me. So you can have the opportunity to go back and appreciate what your experiences have brought you and what they have taught you, because I now operate from a place of wisdom. I now operate from a place of experience, that I've experienced that. I have been in that place, but I don't have to stay in that place. Because now I know that when I prepare well, I can show up well regardless of the circumstances. When I tell you, one time my old boss walked in, he asked me a question about an inventory. My mind went completely blank. Why? Because I didn't care. I didn't care to answer him. I didn't really want to talk to him. And because I didn't want to talk to him, I didn't have the answer. I was just like, I don't know. And literally, I did this. I don't know. Like, ma'am, you just don't care. And it showed up in how I showed up, especially in my interaction with him. Now, when I interacted with my team members, with those who reported to me, I did not behave like that. But when I interacted with him, baby, I was like, if you don't get away from me today. And because I anticipated a poor interaction is what I got every single time. Baby. Every single time. Every single time. I want you to think about how attitudinally you are showing up, because mentally you have already checked out. You're not progressing in your leadership journey, in your career, in your life, in your finances, because mentally you've already counted yourself out. You have already expected a bad outcome, even though you desire something greater. I desired a promotion. But was my behavior based upon the beliefs I had and the thoughts I was thinking gonna get me that result? Absolutely not. They weren't. No, ma'am. They weren't. But if I just changed the way I thought, if I just changed what I believe about my circumstance and me showing up, it would have changed some things. So I got some homework for you. I want you to review some tapes. I want you to think back about a situation that did not go as you desire. It could be with your children. It could be in a leadership position. It could be with your friends. It could be with your spouse, right? I want you to think about that situation. And I want you to think about how you think about that situation. Like when you were in that situation, what did you think as you were interacting with that person? Were you projecting your own emotions on the words that they were saying? Did you intentionally receive clarity from that person, or did you assume in that interaction? And as you unpack this, because it's you have to unpack it. Anytime you review tapes, you are unpacking what you see. But you are going to do it from an objective place. You want to be objective. You don't want to be subjective. You don't want to project your emotional posture today on the situation. You want to objectively unpack what's there. And as you objectively unpack what's there, I want you to see what you could have done differently, because we always want to talk about what other people could have done differently. Could my boss have showed up differently in our engagements? Could he have pulled something better out of me? Absolutely. I believe that is what leaders do. However, he didn't have the capacity. He just didn't know. One time he said to me, I just don't know how to engage with you. I don't know how to motivate you. I don't know. And he wasn't looking to find out either. He really wasn't. But it wasn't on him. I needed to look into me and discover what I could have done differently, right? Like this is about me showing up differently. Now, could he have shown up differently? Absolutely. But we're talking about when you review your tapes, you are looking at you and you alone, because you showing up causes things to shift and change. You showing up in your fullness, you showing up in your bigness, you being who you have been called to be is going to make a difference. You were created to lead this life where you have influence and impact without all the stress and frustration that you are currently experiencing. If you are looking for less stress and you're looking for more influence, then this is the community you need. I want you to go ahead and subscribe, hit the like button, and make sure you come back here because we upload a video every Wednesday, okay? I want you to make sure that you do the homework. Go back, watch this video, and share it with somebody that you know needs this information. Because as you go throughout 2025, you're going to need something to hold on to. You're going to need something to reference. You're going to need practical tools and strategies in order for you to be effective, in order for you to show up in all of your brilliance. Because this year, you're not remaining silent because of past experiences. But you are going to open your mouth wide and you are going to have something powerful to say because you're prepared. You have already done the work privately in order for you to show up publicly and make an impact. And so I'm excited for this new version of you, because you could not have watched this video and remained the same. You could not have watched this video and still be the same person you were when you started this video, okay? And so I'm just excited about what's happening in your life. I'm excited about the mindset shifts, and I'm excited about the results you're going to get. I will see you in another video. Bye.